Hello, friends. Welcome to Chasing English, the place where we read stories together, learn English, and have fun every day. If you read and listen with me every day, your English will get better and better. So, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. My name is Michael. I am 23 years old, and 2 years ago, I made the biggest choice of my life. I moved to the United States of America. It feels like it happened yesterday, but so many things have happened since then. Some were exciting, some were scary, and some were surprising. Coming from a middle-class family in India, I always dreamed of going to another country, seeing the world, and doing something special with my life. I had a good job in India, but the USA called to me. It wasn't only about money or living in a foreign country, it was about possibilities. To me, America was a place where anything could happen. When I first stepped off the airplane in San Francisco, I couldn't believe I was really here. The airport was huge and full of people from many different countries. I looked around with wide eyes. My heart was beating fast. I felt both excited and nervous at the same time. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew one thing: I had so much to learn. The first small shock came when I went to buy a coffee. In India, ordering tea or coffee is simple. You just say chai or coffee, and that's it. But in the US, when I walked into a Starbucks, the choices were endless. Tall, grand, venti. The barista coffee worker asked me something, and I froze. Just coffee, I said awkwardly. People in line behind me were getting impatient. The barista smiled politely, but waited for me to decide. After a few more questions, I finally got a plain black coffee. It was bitter and not what I expected, but it was my first taste of America. That was just the beginning. Back home, we drive on the left side of the road. In the USA, people drive on the right. The first time I drove here, my hands were sweaty, my heart was racing, and I was so focused on staying on the right side that I missed a stop sign and almost caused an accident. A man in another car honked loudly and waved his hands like I had done something terrible. I waved back, saying sorry, but he drove away without looking at me. Welcome to driving in America. I rented a small apartment just outside the city. It was barely big enough for me and my suitcase. That first night, I looked around and thought, is this really it? Is this why I left home? The apartment felt cold and empty. In India, my home was always full: my parents, my sister, neighbors visiting. Here, it was silent. I could hear the fridge humming and cars passing outside, but nothing else. For the first time in my life, I was truly alone. And that, my friends, is where Michael's big adventure in America begins. In the next part, we'll see how he starts to adjust to this new world, the challenges he faces, and the funny surprises along the way. So keep reading with Chasing English. Every day your English will grow, just like Michael's story. At first, every day in America felt like an adventure, but also a challenge. Nothing was the same as back home in India. Even small things felt new and sometimes confusing. Money was my first big lesson. In India, I could buy a lot with a small amount of money, but in the USA, everything seemed so expensive. In my first week, I went to a grocery store and my eyes grew wide when I saw the prices. A loaf of bread cost almost $5. In India, the same money could buy food for the whole day. Back home, I was used to bargaining at markets. Here, the price was fixed: no bargaining at all. If you wanted it, you had to pay the amount on the tag. I realized I needed to be very careful with my money. My salary was okay, but after paying rent, bills, and food, there wasn't much left. To save money, decided to share my apartment with the roommate. Even with the roommate, I had to plan every dollar. Eating out was a luxury. In India, I could eat at a small restaurant for a low price. Here, even a simple meal could cost 20-30. And then there was tipping. In India, we only tip if the service is very good. In the US, tipping is always expected, usually 15-20 of the bill. The first time I went to a restaurant, I didn't leave a tip because I didn't know. The waiter gave me a look I will never forget. Later, I learned my mistake and felt embarrassed. But it was all part of learning a new culture. Then there was the language. I thought my English was good. I had studied it in school, and we used it in many situations. But American English was different. People spoke quickly and used slang I didn't understand. On my first day at work, someone said, "What's up?" I froze. Did they want to know about my work? Were they asking if something was wrong? I just smiled and nodded, which became my safe answer whenever I didn't understand. Over time, I noticed something about Americans: they love small talk. In the elevator, at the store, or on the street, people would say things like, "How's your day going? Nice weather today, huh?" It felt strange at first because back home, we didn't usually talk to strangers, but slowly got used to it. Loneliness was the hardest part. In India, my family was always around. We ate together, talked every day, and supported each other. Here, I came home from work to an empty apartment. There was no warm meal from my mom, no dad asking about my day. I called my parents often, and they were proud of me, but I could hear the worry in their voices. They always asked, "Are you eating well? Are you okay?" I would say, "Yes," but inside, I wasn't always sure. There were moments when I asked myself, was this the right choice? Was it worth leaving my home and comfort to be thousands of miles away, trying to fit into a completely new culture? But each time I thought about quitting, I remembered why I came: for a better life, for opportunities, and to prove to myself that I could do it. One day at work, something happened that began to change everything. A man named Josh, who worked in the same office, came up to me and said, "Hey, Michael, want to grab lunch?" At first, I was shy. In my culture, we don't usually go out with someone we barely know. But I said yes, and it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. Josh introduced me to more people, taught me about American customs, and even explained some slang words. He made me feel less like a stranger and more like I belong. Over time, I began to find my rhythm. I learned how to budget my money, how to use the city buses, and even how to cook simple meals. On weekends, I started enjoying little things like walking in the park or sitting in a cafe with a warm cup of coffee. Life was still challenging, but slowly, step by step, I was building my new world. Life in the US was starting to feel a little more normal. I had my job, a small group of friends, and my own routine. But then, something happened that I didn't expect, and it brought both joy and challenge into my life. It all started at work. One day, during a company team building event, I met Amanda. She worked in another department, and at first, we just exchanged polite smiles in the hallway. Later, we began talking about small things: the weather, the coffee machine, funny moments at work. Amanda was smart, funny, and full of energy. She had a way of making every situation feel lighter. Before I knew it, I was thinking about her all the time. We started going out for coffee after work. At first, I was nervous. I didn't want to say the wrong thing or make a cultural mistake. But with Amanda, I didn't have to try so hard. She made me feel comfortable. One weekend, she invited me to her family's house for a barbecue. In India, I had never really been to an American-style barbecue, so I didn't know what to expect. But when we arrived, I saw her father standing next to a giant grill, flipping burgers and ribs like a professional chef. The smell of smoky meat filled the air, and everyone was laughing and talking. I tried to help, but when I accidentally burned a few hot dogs, Amanda's dad smiled and said, "Why don't you leave the cooking to us, Michael, and just enjoy the sunshine?" That day was full of warmth and laughter. For the first time since I left home, I felt like I was part of a family again. Amanda's relatives welcomed me like an old friend. We ate, played games, and shared stories until the sun went down. After that day, Amanda and I started seeing each other more often. It was my first real relationship in the US, and it felt exciting. We learned more about each other's cultures. I told her about my family in India, and she told me about her childhood in America. But as time went on, I began to notice small differences between us. Amanda had grown up here. She didn't fully understand the weight of my family's expectations or why I felt guilty for leaving them behind. Sometimes, we disagreed about simple things like how often I should call my parents, or why I couldn't just fly back to India anytime I wanted. At first, these were small arguments, but slowly, they started to grow. One evening, after a long week at work, Amanda looked at me and asked softly, "Well, do you ever feel like we're too different?" Her words hit me hard. I didn't know what to say. I thought we were fine, but Amanda felt that there were parts of my life she couldn't connect with. I wanted to make it work, but deep down, knew things were changing. Amanda's question stayed in my mind. Do you ever feel like we're too different? I didn't have an answer that night. I just sat there, looking at her, feeling a little lost. Over the next few weeks, we tried to keep things normal, but something had changed. Our small disagreements started to feel bigger. She wanted to spend more time with friends and travel on weekends. I was still learning how to live here, managing my money carefully, and keeping in touch with my family far away. We cared for each other, but our worlds were not the same. One quiet evening, sitting in my small apartment, we finally had the conversation we had been avoiding. Amanda spoke first. "Michael, I like you a lot, but I feel like I can't fully understand your life, and maybe you can't fully understand mine." I felt my chest tighten. I didn't want to lose her, but I also knew she was right. We were walking on two different paths. We decided to end the relationship. The breakup was hard. For days, I came home from work and just sat in silence. I missed her laugh, her smile, and the way she could make even a bad day feel better. I even missed the little things, like how she always stole fries from my plate at restaurants. Sometimes, I wondered if moving to the US had been a mistake. Was I here to build a life, or just to feel lonely in a new place? But I wasn't alone. Josh, my friend from work, noticed I was feeling down. He knocked on my door one Friday night and said, "Come on, Michael, let's go out. You need to laugh again." We went to watch a basketball game at a sports bar. I didn't drink much, but it felt good to be around people, hear the noise, and forget my worries for a while. At one point, Josh started imitating my Indian accent in an over-the-top way. "Oh, Michael, please tell me how to make the best curry," he said dramatically. I couldn't stop laughing so much that I nearly spilled my drink. In that moment, I realized how important it was to have friends who could lift you up when you were feeling low. One weekend, I decided to cook an Indian dish called samosas for Josh and some friends. I wanted to share a little bit of my culture with them, but I made a mistake. I added way too much chili powder. When Josh took the first bite, his eyes went wide, his face turned red, and he gasped, "Michael, are you trying to kill me?" Everyone burst out laughing. My cooking was a disaster, but the night was perfect. It reminded me that joy could still be found in small, silly moments. I was slowly learning that life in a new country wasn't just about big achievements, it was about little steps, laughter, and connections. Even though my heart still felt heavy from the breakup, I knew this was another chapter in my journey. After the breakup, life slowed down. But this time, it wasn't all bad. I had more time to focus on myself, my work, and the little things that made me happy. I also spent more time with Josh, and of course, his golden retriever, Max. Whenever Josh traveled for work, Max stayed with me. I never thought of myself as a dog person, but Max had a way of cheering me up. He would curl up beside me on the couch, put his head on my lap, and look at me with those big, gentle eyes. "Max," I would say, "you won't believe the day I had," and he would just wag his tail like he understood everything. My English was improving, but I still had funny moments. One day at work, my boss said, "Michael, can you give me a ballpark figure for the project?" I froze. Ballpark figure? Were we talking about baseball? I smiled, nodded, and secretly searched on my phone. It just meant an estimate. I laughed about it later. These little mistakes were no longer embarrassing, they were just part of learning. Over time, I started enjoying American traditions. Halloween was one of my favorites. Josh convinced me to dress as Spider-Man for a party. Halfway through, I took off the mask because it was too hot, and everyone laughed. Josh came as a giant hot dog and kept saying, "Relish the moment." It was silly, but it made me feel like I was part of something. I also began to travel more. One weekend, Josh and I drove to the Grand Canyon. Standing at the edge, looking at the endless red rocks, I felt small, but also grateful. All the struggles, the loneliness, the laughter, they had brought me here. One evening, as I sat in my apartment with Max beside me, I had an idea. What if I shared my story to help others learning English? I wanted to show people the real experiences, the good, the bad, the funny, and help them learn English through stories. So, I started a YouTube channel. I called it Chasing English. I made videos about life in America, cultural differences, and common English phrases. People from around the world watched, commented, and shared their own stories. I wasn't just Michael, the boy who moved to the USA. I had become a storyteller and a friend to people on the same journey. Now, looking back, I see how far I've come. I left my home in India with hope and fear. I faced loneliness, mistakes, and heartbreak. But I also found friendship, joy, and a new purpose. Life will always have ups and downs, but each moment is a chance to grow. Thank you, friends, for reading my story here on Chasing English. If you keep practicing your reading every day, you will see your English improve just like I improved mine. Remember, learning is a journey, not a race. Be patient, keep smiling, and enjoy each step along the way. See you in the next story, and until then, keep chasing English.